Gut, schauen wir mal. We stood near the Sun Plaza and waited for the time to come. Around us were people who looked like they'd given up on running away. They were gazing up at the sky and with despair in their eyes.
It's okay. It's gonna work.
Hello, just.
The Astraea Sats collided with X-2038 20 minutes ago. That part was pretty much perfect. I'm sure the Space Guard missiles are going to hit too.
They were set to reach the asteroid when it was about 30 minutes from Earth, or about 30,000 kilometers away. I didn't know if it was going to be visible to the naked eye, but even so, I gulped and looked up at the sky. Suddenly,
Oh, that's X-2038.
it was just a white dot in the sky, but even from here I could tell it was no regular star. And if it wasn't stopped, it was going to crash into the Pacific in 30 minutes. There was no way for me to redo any of this. We were about to see if all our efforts had paid off. Cross, Wind, Mslit, Mr. Zamezu, Nono, even Oz, who they'd dragged into this mess. Graham, who'd been standing outside my house. Momo, who was still injured and struggled to walk. Everyone was looking up at the sky.
It's okay. There's nothing to worry about.
She whispered like she was trying to convince herself.
Holon was incredible. Everyone was. They all came through. I'm sure it'll all work out.
20 seconds until the Space Guard missiles make contact with X-2038.
Please hit.
Hit! Hit!
Just hit already!
Hit! Hit the damn thing!
5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hit! Break that thing apart!
It was as if my voice had reached it. A bright light filled the sky of the winter morning. The people around us looked up in shock and confusion. Was that light the world ending? Or light subsided, and the scenery we saw, the thing we saw when we looked up, I couldn't help but laugh. I'd only just made it out, but I'd actually seen it. I'd seen the asteroid explode and splinter into little pieces.
It worked! It really worked! Yeah, we did it.
We had one chance and one had been enough. Momo teared up as my eyes met hers. We looked to each other. Standing in front of everyone who'd helped, I threw my fist in the air.
Hackers are wizards! We make the impossible possible!
Hold on!
Miss Lit and Nono both grabbed me.
Taco! You're heckin' awesome! All of you are awesome!
Even Wind joined them. He was so hyped it was impossible to tell he'd been cowering moments ago. But we were the only ones in high spirits. Some of the people nearby had cheered a little, but they got exhausted and fell into despair again straight away. Right. Things weren't over yet. We prevented the asteroid impact. But the Pope had declared that the world would end in a few days. Then again, that was a job for Kent, so I suddenly noticed that Juno was here.
Juno! Are you alright now?
How long had she been here? I glanced at her injury. It looked like she'd been treated. She must have found a hospital. Her expression was blank. But then She began crying her eyes out.
Kent. Kent. My brother. My brother. My dearest brother. Oh, my brother, no. Not my brother. Not Kent. Not him.
Hey, what's wrong?
What's wrong? You're wondering what's wrong? Well, you were wasting time on that asteroid. He was deleted. My beautiful brother was deleted by Asuma Soga.
Huh?
What did she just say?
He's deleted my brother. All trace of him has vanished from the world.
What are you talking about?
He doesn't exist anymore. Kent, my brother, he's gone.
Our joy quickly turned to despair. We lost our only hope of saving the world. On a heavy fire, Asuma had flown into the sky. Floating above the Shinjuku crater, he looked down and clicked his tongue. He didn't like that Graham had shot him while he was cornering Polo Takaoka. Graham's bullet would never have hit Asuma. It would have automatically stopped before it so much as grazed his body. Asuma was irritated purely because he had to rely on his reflexes to evade it. Asuma suddenly began to break apart at the particle level. His body, completely untouched by the overwhelming amount of drone firepower, was shining as it split apart. It looked akin to magic, but Asuma realized immediately that this too was an attack on him. This meant there was still someone out there with the means to attack him. And Asuma quickly realized this person was wizard-level hacker Cicada 3301, aka Kent Kurihisa.
Damn you!
Asuma halted the attack. Just before it disappeared altogether, his body, or rather his data, reconstructed automatically. All he'd done was wish for it too. The light consuming him vanished, and he was in perfect health again.
You're annoying. You're really pissing me off, Kent Kurihisa!
The moment Asuma growled these words, Amadeus Kent appeared before him. It was clear from Kent's expression that he hadn't intended to make such an appearance.
Why don't you get it? Right now, in this world, I can do anything I like. I can even summon you before me.
That power you wield is not yours.
I know that. And what of it? You do realize that those of you trying to protect the world are an absolute minority, don't you? The overwhelming majority wants only to be freed from the shitty world. Why not respect the will of the people, and respect my will too? You're going to these lengths for yourself alone. And it's completely pointless. It pisses me off that you think you're in the right.
Be that as it may, I will not give up on saving the entire world. All existing world layers, and all the people living within them. The last 25 years have brought me to this decision.
Then save me too! Why are you trying to kill me? This is why the whole simulation is trash! Just disappear already!
The white noise of static interference suddenly began crawling over Kent's body. In a moment, he was the one consumed by light. And in another moment, he disassembled entirely. Fragments of light floated around for a few seconds, but soon those too vanished as if they had never been. Asuma had completely deleted Kent Kurihisa. And it wasn't just this body he'd deleted. He had deleted Amadeus Kent Kurihisa's data in its entirety. Data that once spread all over the world was now gone without a trace. He hadn't neglected to delete the original Kent's data either, nor the Amadeus system offshoot Kent had built. Kent was gone, and he could never come back. Normally, if it was impossible to delete data without leaving a single byte of information behind. But as he was now, Asuma could accomplish that feat without any trouble. If he wanted to, he could delete the very memories of Kent Kurisa and Cicada 3301 from the minds of everyone who knew of them.
I told you. In this world, I can do anything. You should thank me. I freed you from a 25-year curse.
Now Asuma could finally end the world. The asteroid he'd created would collide with Earth in half an hour. It would instantly kill hundreds of millions. He looked up at the sky
What?
and was left speechless. The asteroid was hurtling closer, but as it did, it was pierced by a few small lights, and the sky was drowning in light. Asuma knew instinctively that the asteroid had been destroyed. The world would not end at his hands. The future had been changed.
Who did this?
He yelled in outrage, but he already had an inkling as to who was responsible.
It was you, wasn't it? Lucia! You and Pull-on Takaoka!
Yep. The CCO office, which was usually at least somewhat lively, was totally silent today. Being alone in this empty office made me feel a bit uncomfortable. The door swung suddenly open, and Chief Samezu walked in.
Oh, Chief.
His eyes widened in surprise when he saw me.
You're here already?
Oh, yeah. It was surprisingly simple. The roads were empty. You'd never know about all the panicking this morning.
Yes, I noticed that myself.
The explosions in Uminomori and Odaiba, the drones that ran amok, and the asteroid that almost hit the planet. So many things had happened in such a short time, but as CCO officers, we were completely powerless to stop any of them. The chief had been suspended after the pool hack, and it was hard to tell who was in charge of who anymore. The situation had blown into such a large-scale crisis that we couldn't have done anything about it if we'd wanted to. If the asteroid had fallen, Tokyo would have been destroyed. That was why, until now, I'd been at home with Riko and Iroha. We'd been sitting together, shaking, as we waited for the asteroid to arrive. But the asteroid had suddenly exploded before impact. And I was still alive somehow. That was when the chief called us. He told anyone who could work today to come into the office. I hadn't been informed about his suspension being lifted, so I assumed he was planning something himself. When I saw the message, though, I couldn't ignore it. I rushed to the office right away. Riko and Iroha said that they'd catch up with me after they got changed into their uniforms.
Shouldn't you be back with your parents?
That's out of the question at the moment. The highways are gridlocked, and neither maglevs nor the bullet train are operating.
When X-2038 was on a collision course with Earth, countless people had tried to evacuate, even while knowing there was no way out. The roads had ended up an absolute mess, with almost everybody in a desperate rush to evacuate. Evacuating was the right decision, though, in a way. Experts predicted that the asteroid would cause a tsunami over 100 meters tall. But it had broken apart, and its fragments were expected to cause much less damage. The news said there would be far fewer casualties now.
Chief? Would I be correct in assuming that Polon was somehow involved in the asteroid's explosion?
You would.
Whoa.
I couldn't put my finger on why, but I had a feeling he'd done something.
He's really something else. Were you involved too?
No, I'm an independent party in all this.
But you know something, right? The asteroid incident may be over now, but we're still in a crisis. This whole thing about the end, is it really true?
Apparently so.
I knew it. So, how's the world coping?
I'd seen the Pope's speech. Honestly, I didn't know what that was about, but it made me feel massively anxious.
Everyone is convinced that the end of the world is near, and word spreading around the globe that our world is actually fake. That it's artificial.
That this world is an Earth simulation. All digital. Is that true as well?
It's a notion hard to deny after witnessing what happened between Asuma Soga and the army. It was streamed to the entire world. billions watched that battle unfold live. The Pope didn't include that artificial world detail in his speech, though. Most world leaders have expressed confusion at what he said. The US president is the only exception. He agrees with the Pope.
Did we find the Prime Minister?
No. Chances are he didn't survive. Judging by foreign social media and the like, it looks like most people have accepted the statement as truth. It also appears that pious people who truly believe in God have fallen the deepest into despair.
Huh? Why are people in other countries so much more depressed?
We're talking about countries with far higher populations of religious people than Japan. If the world is an Earth simulation, then God would have to be its developer, or Gaia itself. Neither of those is anything like the God they believed in. God turned out to be nothing more than an AI, or another person at best. For anyone who found solace in the existence of God, a revelation like that is akin to an outright denial of their life's meaning. The despair is spreading to the extent that people around the world are committing suicide en masse. This is an AI estimate, but it's possible that the number already exceeds 100,000 deaths.
What?
That many already, but the Pope's speech wasn't even that long ago.
The number will surely increase as time passes. We could end up with a figure a dozen times larger.
I had no idea that was happening.
Only half a day has passed, but already the world's economies have shut down and order is crumbling. People are split between two extremes. They're choosing either to go outside and throw caution to the wind, or to lock themselves in and wait for the end. Burglaries, murders, rapes, and other crimes are bound to occur. And since police will soon stop functioning, said crimes will go unchecked. Odds are that even the army will throw in the towel. Officers and soldiers are people too, after all. And none of them have any incentive to work anymore.
So things were just going to spiral further out of control over the next 10 days until the world ended. But after hearing about what Poland did,
That's exactly why we should do whatever we can to help whoever we can. I won't let some boy hacker out-assist me. Chief, if you want me to, I'll sing for a week straight.
We don't need songs right now.
What? But what do you always say?
You're right. Idols make smiles.
And smiles make idols. With everything that's going on, this is what you're doing?
we were joined mid-pep talk by several members of the CCO.
You're all fired up, aren't you?
I guess you could say that.
Surprisingly, besides us Cyberforce dolls, about 10 other people had come in. They were all checking everyone else was alright.
Thank you so much for your support.
The chief bowed deeply.
There's something I need all of you to do. We must locate information regarding World Line collapse that Cicada 3301 left somewhere out there.
I didn't really understand what the chief was talking about. Still,
This may well be our final task as Cyber Countermeasures Office. I'll be counting on you. And lastly,
he glanced at me.
always remember to wear your cute smile.
Yes, sir.
If this was gonna make the world a better place, or help even a single person, I was ready to go above and beyond. Okay.
Come on in.
Hey.
Fried garlic chives and liver, please.
Coming right up.
The world was about to end, so hardly any business were open. I was pretty shocked when I saw this place was carrying on like normal. Still, it was lunchtime, but Oz and I were the only customers here.
You're looking a little worse for wear.
I guess the world and I have that in common right now. Wait, I just remembered that I never thanked you. I couldn't have pulled off the meteor hack without you. Thanks.
It's not like I did it all by myself. You guys ran most of that relay race. I just carried the baton to the finish line. And I had to get scolded by a guy half my age before I knew what was what. That did help me get back on my feet, though. Anyway, enough about me.
Yeah, I wasn't here to thank him.
Talk to Juno yet?
Thank him.
Well, yeah. It took a lot to calm her down. She almost killed me a bunch of times.
After losing Kent, Juno was in such a bad way that it had taken all of us to pacify her.
In the end, there was nothing they could do to bring back Kent Korihisa.
Miss Lid had contacted Kurisu Makise about looking into Amadeus Kent.
Turns out that all his data and even the systems related to him were wiped off the face of the Earth. The job was real thorough, apparently.
It was nearly impossible to delete every trace of something from the internet, but Asuma had done it, and it done it in an instant.
And there might be some local data somewhere that nobody had noticed, but finding it would take time.
This is Asuma's handiwork we're talking about here. There's no way anything's left. Up till now, I figured Kent would just take care of things for us. That was why Momo and I had been looking for him. So him getting scrubbed has really screwed stuff up.
And since I couldn't load either, I couldn't even go back to that moment and try again.
Garlic chives and liver stir fry.
The guy put the dish in front of me.
Thank you.
None of the local supermarkets, convenience stores, or internet delivery services were working properly. Just getting food was a mission in itself right now. Hot meals like this were something to savor, but I wasn't actually that hungry. I'd kinda ordered it out of habit. Still, I wasn't gonna waste it. I scooped up some white rice with the liver.
So, what did you learn from Juno? Did you find out what Kent was planning?
No. Kent didn't tell her much either.
Even though they were brother and sister?
Well, that's probably why she's so messed up in the first place. But the CCO's onto a good lead.
They'd spent the past few days carefully sifting through all sorts of internet logs.
Good old Karu. How'd they find it?
Through Pietro Bertone, the man who died at the Sagrada Familia 12 years ago.
Ah, the cardinal who burned up. He was anti-fate, wasn't he?
He raised Rosario too.
Apparently, Kent trusted Bertone a lot. They used to communicate in secret. With Rosario's help, we followed a trail to a paper notepad, and Kent's name was in there.
Rosario hadn't fully recovered yet, but she still flew to Spain to find it.
There was a hint in the notepad about how the world could still be saved.
Gotta love analog. So, whatever it is that Kent left, can someone make it work?
Probably not. Kent was plotting to hack the Earth simulator.
You mean Gaia? What's the purpose?
Not the Gaia in our world layer, but the one above us.
Whoa. So...
He wanted to hack this world. World line collapse. That's what Kent came up with in order to save all the world layers. And to pull that off, apparently he was planning to put this world under stress. Or high load.
High load? We're talking quantum computer here.
But there's no other way to force a world line divergence in every single world layer at the same time. The problem is, only Kent Korihisa, the top echelon of wizard tier hackers, had a shot at it, if that. No run-of-the-mill hackers can pull that shit off, even if there's thousands of them and they spend their entire life trying to do it.
Well, at least it was clear we'd never get this done before the end of the world. We chatted on 4chan's hackboard, obviously, and people were talking it over, but still.
Things don't look so good.
The fried garlic chives and liver were bland. It wasn't like the chef had forgotten how to cook. I just wasn't in any state to enjoy food. And I knew why. We probably didn't have the means to pull off what Kent had planned, and finding another way to save the world seemed unlikely, but more importantly...
Hey... Oz...
Yeah? Yeah?
I couldn't save or load anymore. The thought had me so anxious I couldn't sleep, and I'd been vomiting up pretty much everything I ate too. Honestly though, I'd been relying on it too much. After learning more about what Dad did, my emotions were in a better place, and I felt kinda proud to be a hacker now. But the end was approaching fast, and I didn't feel like I could help Momo without my abilities. The anxiety was crushing me. But despite all that, I didn't even have the courage to try loading the save data you made on.
No. Forget it.
I just couldn't find the words. I was heading home. There wasn't a single person at Nakano Station. Everyone had vanished from the city. The fragments of X-2038 had caused a tsunami in the Pacific, but it was so small that were almost... so small that there were almost no casualties. So that wasn't the reason the city was so deserted. Right now, people were either locking themselves up at home and waiting for the end, or gathering in groups to seek comfort in others. Things were about the same all over the world. 2 days ago, this place was full of people running about or watching the asteroid coming down. But now, there were no such people here. Public transportation was non-operational, and the roads were almost devoid of cars. I couldn't even see any self-driving buses. Some businesses had brought their shutters down, while others had kept theirs up and been looted. Some had even been abandoned by employees and left with empty shelves. Some still had AR characters out front though, cheerfully inviting more customers inside. There was nobody at Symphony tonight. None of us had gotten enough sleep over the past few days, so I told everyone to get some rest. Momo had volunteered to look after Juno. It seemed like she had something to discuss with her, though. I had told her to take a break, though. The economy had frozen and society was at a standstill as people held their breaths. The world was dying a slow death already. At least, that's how the silence made me feel. A week flew by. The deadline was getting dangerously close. We had 3 days left before the end of the world, and no idea how to prevent it. A wasted week didn't do my anxiety any favors, given the circumstances. There were even fewer people out in the city than before. Infrastructure had collapsed, and people who hadn't prepped couldn't even get any food. All they could do was starve as the end approached. The snow that had fallen this morning made the city feel even more silent. That was when Momo called me out of the blue. She'd spent the past week hanging out with Juno. I assumed she wanted to learn whatever else she could about Kent from her. It felt like it had been a while since I'd heard from her. She said she wanted to meet up and talk, and suggested going to the park where we'd first seen each other. I was already here, but I couldn't see her anywhere. I parked myself on a bench when...
Hold on. Sorry I took so long. Here, it's for you.
Momo joined me. She ran up and handed me something. I took it without thinking, then realized it was some warm milk tea.
It's my treat.
Oh, thanks.
I was surprised she managed to find something like this. Maybe she was a little late, because she'd been searching. The world's economy had practically shut down. Pretty much every vending machine had been emptied already. The milk tea was so warm that I...
Polan? What's wrong?
Huh? Oh, nothing.
My anxiety must have shown on my face. The sudden kindness almost broke me. I felt like I was about to cry out. No, not just any kindness, it was Momo's kindness. Maybe that's why.
I don't think I can help you anymore.
Sitting on the bench, I looked away from her.
I was relying on my saves, and now that they're gone, I just don't know what to do. I'm a third-rate hacker, too. Man. I sure am pathetic, huh?
At that moment, I felt something warm press against my back.
But that doesn't change how much courage you've given me. over and over again.
Momo, it's the other way around. Without your positivity, I would have never made it this far. I always said I'd help you, but you ended up helping me way more.
I'm glad you think that. That means I'm a valuable member of Nakano Symphonies. Hey, Polan, I need you to give me just a little more courage. Let me rely on you. Please.
Huh?
To save the world, I need the resolve to do one thing. It's something very difficult and painful, but I don't want to waste this one last chance. I couldn't bear to lose this world. This place that has you and everyone else important to me in it. And I think I finally know what I can do to save it. So, Polan, will you come with me?
Momo, but
I'd be useless to her now.
I don't need someone who can save or load. I need you, Polan. As long as you're with me.
Through her warmth against my back, I felt her trembling. And it wasn't cause of the cold, I could tell. I didn't know what she was planning, but I still had to decide whether or not I should encourage her, even if I was useless, even if I went out this way. This was about whether I could keep my promise to her, whether I was prepared to die for that promise. It must have taken a lot for Momo to ask this of me. She was asking me to die for her, for the world itself. Well, my answer to that was obvious.
I'll help you like I always have.
We'd probably have to face Asuma, and when we did, I'd be powerless. I'd lose the fight in a second. I probably wouldn't be able to protect Momo either. Fear and anxiety welled up in my heart. But still,
I'll help you until my last breath. That's what my team and I are all about.
I was trying to look cool, show I had courage, and tell the truth all at once, and it didn't matter that I couldn't prove I meant every word. And Momo's response.
Thank you. I'm glad I got to hear you say those words. I'm going to give it all I have. I don't want to stay useless to the very end.
Momo told me what she had in mind, and it was way heavier and more shocking than I could have ever expected. And getting me to go along with it before she told me what she was planning. Momo, that wasn't too kind. Night fell, and Momo presented her idea to everyone.
I have a proposal for saving the world from its imminent end.
She opened with those words. Jun was among the people she'd called.
World line collapse is crucial in averting the end. This raises the question of how we can make it happen. Our world is digital, a Gaia simulation. I'm afraid that seems to be the case at this point. But Kent wanted to use that truth to our advantage. He believed we could control the world if we exploited a weakness in its system. A high load on the world would most likely cause the Gaia QCDC, the computer maintaining Gaia, to reboot. So, in essence, we would be forcing Gaia's simulation to reset. That's the outline of the world line collapse.
What would happen after the reset?
Kent's conclusion was that the world simulation would synchronize with the most recent state of the topmost layer, then restart. To be honest, the year 2038 problem isn't an unsolvable issue. Then why is it a certain insurmountable threat to the world? There's an infinite number of world layers, but ultimately they all exist within a single computer. The topmost layer's Gaia QCDC. Meaning, if even a single world layer malfunctions, that will adversely affect the original Gaia QCDC. I believe the vast majority of the world layers have already addressed the year 2038 problem. The same can be said for our world layer, but that doesn't mean every single layer has dealt with it perfectly. It's down to pure probability. The more layers there are, the greater the chance that one has made a mistake. And just one mistake is enough to affect all the other world layers. So to avoid that, all existing world layers need to receive a mandatory data fix for the year 2038 problem.
I I see. Which leads to causing the world line collapse here.
Yes. Assuming that the topmost world layer has eliminated the year 2038 problem, we will bring about the world line collapse, reset all world layers, and synchronize them with the topmost layer.
According to Bertoni's memos, Kent assumed that synchronizing with the top would actually turn back time a little. Earth simulators simulated the future after all. And considering we were in one of those simulated futures, from our perspective, the topmost layer was actually in the past.
A 100% sync rate between all world layers. This is synonymous with the year 2038 problem having been eliminated in each and every layer.
And after that happened, each world would progress into their own futures again, and the sync rate with the topmost world layer would gradually drop. The 100% sync rate only needed to last a single moment. A moment would be enough to reset every layer once, and that was what we needed.
Pretty drastic solution you got there.
Guy QCDC exists in our world layer too, doesn't it? What would happen if we force reset it? Based on what you said, forcing Guy QCDC in any world layer to reset from overload would have the same effect, no?
Apparently, Kent already tried that. He hacked into every QCDC in our world, Guy institutions included, and overloaded them.
And? Wait, never mind. If that had worked, we wouldn't even be discussing this right now.
As you've guessed, nothing happened. That was when Kent concluded that, rather than hacking into our own world as gods, we must hack into God's world.
He did say that, didn't he? But what does it mean?
It's a scenario where a resident of a world layer hacks the upper layer system running the Earth simulator that they're in. According to him, only a contradiction that intense would put enough load on the QCDC to force a restart.
So we have to influence the world layer above us.
Hack into God, huh?
Not even that is guaranteed to work, though.
Hold on. This whole talk is focused on resetting the world. But if that happens, won't we all lose our memories?
It wasn't just us. The memories of everyone in the world would be overwritten by the memories of their topmost world layer selves.
Then what's the point in risking everything to save the world?
If we consider ourselves as sentient beings distinct from our originals, then the closing of the world layers would result in the deaths of an infinite number of lives. I imagine that's what Kent Korihisa was trying to prevent.
In the end, logic isn't everything. Whether to accept that you're nothing but data, or say, screw that and believe in yourself that you're human. Kent Korihisa chose the latter. It's a matter of pride.
I see. I can relate to that line of thinking.
Naturally, we would resist too. We weren't data, we were alive.
So, little lady, you got any plans to do this world line collapse?
Yes, I do.
Momo nodded confidently.
Kent tried to cause the world line collapse by hacking the world itself. But that was something only Kent, the best of the wizard tier hackers, was capable of.
She was right. None of us had the skill to do that. Hell, no one else in the world did.
So I came up with an alternate plan. Something I can do. I was originally an artificial brain. But one day, I suddenly incarnated into this body. During my time with the Vatican, as an artificial brain and after incarnation, I was connected to their QCDC, Necro Pilgrimage. The purpose was to bestow miraculous powers, sacraments, to the agents of the Holy Office 513. I have this so-called factor, which is a quality shared among those who experienced miracles, like my contact with Our Lady. And if someone connected with me online through Necro Pilgrimage, they would be able to use a sacrament. My plan is to exploit that.
Exploit?
What do you mean?
I'll head to the Vatican and enter the reservoir. It should still be there. Once ready, I'll call out to the people of the world and ask them to connect with me online. Right now, only the members of the Holy Office 513 are granted access to Necro Pilgrimage. But I will connect to it from the reservoir and open its channels to the entire world. so that we can have as many people use sacraments as possible. Apparently, after my incarnation, my factor became incredibly powerful, far stronger than it had been when I was an artificial brain. If several 100 million people used powerful sacraments at once, that could potentially put a high load on the world.
Sacraments were miraculous powers that normal people could never normally use, and she was thinking of granting them to millions. An overwhelming number of such unthinkable events unfolding at once would overload the world, Gaia, and force it to reset.
The world population is about 9 billion. Catholics alone amount to 1.3 billion. The key is how many people will be able to persuade into using sacraments.
You got any proof this'll work, little lady? You think it's enough to cause the world to reset?
I don't have any proof.
But Kent didn't either. His plan wasn't guaranteed to work. He knew it'd be a gamble. That's what he said when he talked about the world line collapse.
This was the only plan I could come up with that maximized my ability. It might not be enough to overload the world. It's possible nothing will happen. To begin with, I have to go deep inside enemy headquarters to connect myself to Necropilgrimage. The agents of the Holy Office will be there to eliminate me. We only have one chance, and failure will mean the end of everything. Even if we succeed, the outcome may be different from what we want. But still, rather than give up and wait for the world to end, I want to do everything I can for the sake of the world and its people.
Yep, that sounded about right. This was our only choice. We were out of other options. The stakes were high and our odds were low. It was a gamble for us, for sure. But Momo was all in.
I'm not sure how I'll be able to contribute, but let me help you.
I can only do what I usually do, but if that's okay with you guys...
I'm a member of Nakano Symphonies, and we back each other up. Right, Polon? Polon?
Hey, Polon. Why haven't you said anything? You understand what this plan really means?
Tengen, what's this about?
Like the little lady said, it's got the potential to take out the year 2038 problem across all world layers. That means the entire world can be saved, along with virtually all the people in the world layers. All except for one individual.
There is? Who? Who won't?
You know who it is, right? Hold on.
Oz looked at Momo.
It's you, little lady. You're the only one who won't make it. Your entire existence is gonna be wiped out.
What? For real?
Yes. Since there's no such person as Momo Aizaki in the topmost world layer, I'll be gone.
Ours was the only world with Momo in it. She was someone who should never have existed to begin with. The Gaia in the layer above us, above ours, had created her as a potential means to avert the end. When all the world layers had a 100% sync rate, Momo, who didn't exist in the topmost layer, would be gone forever.
So you were aware.
You knew about it, Polon?
Yeah.
That was what Momo had to make up her mind about.
Hold on. Are you okay with this?
Fuck no, I wasn't. But
I made a promise, so I'll help Momo no matter what. I'm gonna back her up with everything I've got, so she can achieve what she wants. She's one of us, and I'll be there for her. I'll honor her decision.
my fist clenched as I spoke. I was half serious, half putting up a front. No, I was bluffing. I'd spent the few hours since she told me her plan asking myself whether I should stop her. But the thing was, it didn't matter if the end came or if Momo's plan was a success. She would make it either way. She knew that, but she wasn't wavering in the slightest. She'd been that way since the moment we met. Only ever thinking about what she could do to save the world. She'd always done whatever she could to achieve that goal. and I'd promised to help her in any way I could. She was in need, and I couldn't stand idly by. Momo wasn't wavering, so I couldn't either.
I'm in this with Momo.
Thank you.
That was my answer. No, it was our answer. The answer Momo and I had chosen together. The door opened and Felino Arcana stepped inside the Sistine Chapel. Outside St. Peter's Square was full of believers. Their reactions to the crisis varied wildly. Some wept in sadness, others prayed silently, and select people were cursing the Pope. But all the buildings in the Vatican were firmly secured, so nobody could get inside them. The Sistine Chapel, which was often full of tourists, was no exception. Inside, the empty chapel was enveloped in a solemn aura, and the silence was almost deafening. But it wasn't completely empty. A certain someone was sitting below the fresco of the Last Judgment.
Welcome, Asuma Soga.
It was Asuma all alone. He seemed like a frail little boy. It was hard to imagine that this was the child who'd destroyed a Japanese city, created an asteroid, and plunged the world into such chaos.
How are you finding this chapel? Would you not agree that it depicts beautifully the wonder of the blessed end to come? All that has transpired is the will of the Lord, the promised end, and the birth of a new world. I thank him immensely for his grace in letting me witness this moment. Asuma Soga, that you have come to us shows that we are of one mind. Thus, I welcome you, so that we might welcome the brilliant end together. We are faced with a certain danger, however. There are transgressors out there who dare to defy the will of our Lord. I expect you are quite familiar with them. You must loathe them, no? You've been an extremist from the moment you first set eyes upon their heretical forms. Do loathe them. Embrace your anger, and then join hands with us, that we might cast the transgressors into the flames of hell. We welcome you with open arms.
Shut up. Don't talk to me. Or do. I'll just delete you from the world. Maybe I'll wipe out your tiny little Vatican with you. So don't bother talking to me. I don't want to hear anyone anymore. I don't want to hear anyone's voice. Stop talking.
Why are you here then? If you are not here to cling to our Lord, or to use us to further your cause, then why have you come?
Because they're coming here. The two thorns in my side. They're the only ones who don't do as I want them to. The only ones! They even outplayed me when I tried to bring an asteroid down. They outplayed me. Me! They've always been like that. They never do what I expect or want. They're always one step ahead. They always carry themselves like they can handle anything. What the hell? What is this? Shit. I think they're so cool. I know exactly what they're planning now. I won't let them do it. I won't let them save the world. They think there's hope. They don't even have any doubts. So I'll break their spirits completely and then finish them off. That's why I'm here. Can't wait to see the looks on their faces. It's what they deserve for screwing with me.
Then we are indeed of one mind. Join us and...
Shut up. Are you really gonna make me repeat myself? Didn't you hear me the first time?
Felino shuddered at the sheer malice in the boy's glare.
I don't want to see you again. Beat it.
Was looking up at her, but she felt as if she was being looked down upon by an entity far greater than herself. This boy could erase her existence at any moment, and without any effort on his part. Felino cowered at the thought. It was the first time she'd felt as if another had absolute control over her continued existence, and she found it deeply humiliating. Reno turned away from Asuma and walked quickly out of the chapel. The end was near. We had just over 3 hours left. I was in Rome for the first time in my life, and the whole place was silent. The entire world was deep in despair. There was no hope of salvation. God had abandoned us. I looked up at the sky above the Vatican. Dark clouds speckled a darker sky. Damn it.
It's like someone's warning me. I have a bad feeling about this.
We weren't even close to the Vatican yet, but I sensed someone there. A dread overwhelming enough to fill anyone it touched with awe and fear. It was like a heavy wall separating us from them. I knew they were there, I knew by instinct. Below the dark sky stood the agents of the Holy Office 513 and Asuma, but we'd come too far to turn back. Momo was waiting for the operation to start. She was sitting on the famous steps here in Piazza di Spagna. She looked pretty tense. Who could blame her, though? Some of us had considered starting this whole thing earlier. This plan needed a whole lot of prep work, so we'd ended up having to go through with it now.
Hey, Takaoka, check this out! More than 10,000 hackers have pledged their support now! We've even got some wizard tier hackers offering to help, like Dash! Based! They said they'll support Izaki remotely when she's trying to reach Necro Pilgrimage.
They're the same people who gave us such a hard time during the quests. We can count on them.
I'd hated these hackers until recently, but now I felt like I should apologize. I really appreciated their help with this.
Okay, let's go through the plan one more time. The first step is to get Momo underneath the Vatican, where Necro Pilgrimage is kept. We've worked with hackers all over the world to establish 3 entry routes for when she's inside the Vatican. A, B, and C. When the operation starts, their security system and every door along the 3 routes will be disengaged. She should be able to get straight to the goal, non-stop. There are 2 problems, though. First, the agents of the Holy Office 513 are obviously going to be ready for this.
The plan involved going into the enemy headquarters. A bunch of agents like Davide and Ronin would be waiting for us. Just thinking about them made me shudder. We considered using Juno's quantum teleportation to get Momo to Necro Pilgrimage instantaneously. But if we did that, there would be no one to protect Momo after she got into the reservoir.
Our strategy is to have Momo protected by Polon, Oz, and Juno. Graham and his SFG are going to be there too. So 71 people.
Graham and the soldiers had actually volunteered to help us with this. Not all the soldiers were from the SFG. They'd also been joined by some elites from the armies of other countries. Having professional soldiers on our side was pretty reassuring, even if they were probably gonna struggle with the agents.
They'll be dealing with any agents that show up. Momo, don't stop for even a second. Let the others worry about the agents.
Okay.
The other problem is Asuma Soga. We don't know where or when he's gonna make an appearance. If he wanted to, he could delete everyone, along with the Vatican itself. Polon and Juno, you'll have to distract him at all costs if he shows up.
Okay.
Okay. What about that sounds okay to you? Distracting him won't do it. I'll kill that little worm. He's mine.
Although he's gonna be alive and kicking once the world line collapse hits.
Anna's despair would be reset at the same time. At least that was what I wanted to believe.
I don't care what happens next. I'm going to kill him because I want to kill him.
Well, if you think you can do that, then have at him.
I didn't think she could even put on a scratch on Asuma. Personally, I was just planning to run around. It was all about how I'd saved my own ass long enough for Momo to cause the world line collapse.
The operation starts at 1:14 UTC. Everyone, prepare for it while you still have time.
It was minutes away now. I took out the handgun I had fixed to my waist and checked its safety, ammo and stuff. Graham had given this to me just in case. I didn't think it would help against Asima though. Sudden fear came over me and I couldn't stop shaking. I wasn't the same guy who'd participated in the quests anymore. Asima could kill me in the blink of an eye. Struggling to cope, I wrapped my arms around myself.
I'm so pathetic. Damn it.
The midsummer sun smiles and beams at the cheer invited by the southern wind.
Oh. Momo was reciting that poem again.
A wondrous magic will soon show its gleams, the omen of tears, and joy undimmed.
You still don't remember how it goes after that?
No, maybe that's where it ends.
I tried looking it up myself a few times, but I couldn't find it anywhere.
How about we add to it ourselves then?
Huh?
Let's make more lines for it.
I like that idea. Let's do it.
I knew the final battle was closing in on us, but this seemed like a good way to calm our nerves.
Let's take turns saying lines that come to mind.
Okay, then you first.
Huh? Me?
It was your suggestion.
Alright.
Okay then.
Don't overthink it. Like you said, just say whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
Go on, say something.
Alright.
This was kinda embarrassing.
With courageous heart, we journey ahead.
Ooh, there.
Your turn.
Let's see.
Momo looked around, but it didn't seem like she found anything for reference. She closed her eyes and was likely deep in thought.
Past leaves of red and petals of blue. Peaches and honey abound where we tread.
Are those your memories as Lucia?
I don't know. It's the scenery that came to mind. I guess that's how I'd like the world to return to. Okay, now it's your turn. You have to finish it.
Big responsibility.
But the right words came to mind pretty quick.
To a world that's waiting. Hopeful and new. How's that?
It's wonderful.
Momo stood up and joined her hands as if praying. Then she closed her eyes again and began reciting it.
The midsummer sun smiles and beams. At the cheer invited by the southern wind, a wondrous magic will soon show its gleams, the omen of tears and joy undimmed. With courageous heart, we journey ahead, past leaves of red and petals of blue. Peaches and honey abound where we tread, to a world that's waiting, hopeful and new.
Pretty cool.
Thank you. It's a poem by the two of us. For the two of us.
And it was a poem we'd forget in a few short hours.
Momo?
Let's make a pinky promise.
Yeah. Of course.
I joined my pinky with hers. Her finger was trembling. I knew right away that it wasn't cause of the Italian winter. Momo was fighting against herself, just like I was. She was trying to face her fate head-on. That way she wouldn't regret the choice she'd made.
Kent wasn't the savior. It was you, Momo.
Oh, that's not...
She was about to deny it, but she cut her own sentence short. She looked back at me, and I saw the determination in her eyes.
Let's save the world.
Yeah. And let's make it through this. And meet again.
Hold on. Okay.
Our pinkies slipped away at the same time. We both kept smiling somehow. The operation started. Accompanied by Momo's bodyguards, we'd arrived at the gate leading to the Vatican. Okay. speichern wir hier und nächstes Mal Finale, nehme ich an.